Public service announcement.
Okay. I'm making this little clip because Robin is making me. Some fights you just don't choose to fight. So, with that being said, here we go. Some scenes in this video may be considered graphic to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. And today, we're going to skin a beaver. Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how to skin a beaver. Well, the first thing you got to do is catch a beaver. Then once you catch the beaver, you got to bring it home and wash it, because most of the time in beaver swamps and stuff, the beavers are nasty and they get muddy and they get all kinds of nastiness jammed up in their fur and stuff like that. Then you have to hang up the beaver and let it dry overnight. Then, once your beaver is sitting there dry and being hung, then you have to brush him out. And that's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, so you got your beaver home, you've got him washed, and you've got him dried. Now you've probably, some people, and it all depends on you, we do run the comb over him a couple of times while he's wet. That's why he looks the way that he looks right now. And as you can tell, I mean, this is really beautiful fur. And right before you get to skinning him, you want to take your fur comb and brush him out one more time. Now, the reason for brushing out the beaver is you want to make sure there's no more mud daubs, briars, anything in the fur that when you're using your knife to skin it, that you could catch on your knife and it could cause you to nick the hide. And you just brush him out really well. And brush everywhere. Brushes up underneath here, underneath his jaw, his arms, okay, his face, his head. You want to make sure you got nothing in that fur. Now be careful around this part right here. This is where his castor glands is, and if you push too much, it'll squirt out and get you. Okay, once your beaver is all brushed out, it's time to take him down from him being hung and bring him to the skinning table. Okay, so before we dive deep into skinning this beaver, I want to go over some of the tools that you're going to need. Anytime you're skinning any animal, I really suggest that you wear some type of a latex glove. Just get in the habit of it, doing it on critters that necessarily don't really matter. You don't really have to have it with a beaver, but when you start dealing with coons and canines, it's always best to have those gloves on. You're going to need a pair of loppers. You're going to need a sharpening steel, skinning knives. I have a regular skinner, and then I have what they call a beaver knife. Now if you notice, the main points is this skinning knife has a point to it, and it's a thinner blade. The beaver knife is rounded and is a little bit thicker of a blade width-wise. I also keep a tail zipper with me. It's just a little trick that I've learned along the way. And then also I keep my fur comb handy. Okay, now that we know our tools, let's get into skinning the beaver. All right, so the unique thing when you're skinning a beaver, okay, a beaver is the one fur bearer that you split right down the middle, okay? Most of the other ones, you start at the hind legs, cut your Y, and pull the hide off that way. And you'll see that in the video when we're skinning a coon or muskrat or something. But the beaver, you split right down the center almost, you know, just like how you would do a deer or a hog or anything like that. Now, the very first step that I do with the beaver is I remove his feet. And that's where the loppers come in. It's just easier this way with the loppers, and it saves on time. You just come down to where, right about where it meets the fur, whop him, cut through the bone, take your pointed skinning knife, cut off, cut off. Now, another thing that you gotta have is a gut bucket. You just take your claws. Now you can take the toenails off and make jewelry with them. We don't, because it's just too time consuming, and it's just easier to throw this stuff in the gut bucket and use it for coyotes. Same way with his back feet. Once you get the back feet lopped, you're done with your loppers. Come in here with your knife, cut the skin away. Boom. Then you're done with that. Now, the next thing that you want to do is kind of personal preference. Some guys will go ahead and split it. I like to go ahead and do what they call ring his tail, which is you come around this portion of the tail right where the leather meets, and you just take your knife and ring it. Okay, once you got that ringed, now, another important thing to do while you're down here on this end is to go ahead and cut around the bunghole. Now, the bunghole, as you can see right here, is very blatant what it is. Okay? So you want to basically circle around it. So I always come up from where I slit with the tail very carefully, because his castor glands are right around this area. So the one thing you don't want to do is poke the castor gland. Okay, now pretty much done around the bunghole. You're gonna come up here, right here in between his two bottom teeth, and you're gonna cut. You're just gonna split her right down the center. Try to be as straight as you can with her. this is where the tail splitter comes in for me. Okay, because it's a nice little razor blade. I'll tuck it up underneath here once I got it going a good bit. Trying to be as straight of a line as I can be. Come here, girl. And then you just start coming in here. Slowly cutting away at your hide. Cutting that thin little layer of membrane that's holding the skin to the meat. Now don't be afraid to also reach in here and grab and pull. Okay, because that does help too. Now this beaver, this is not one of the beavers we caught. This was given to us by a friend of the homestead. He was out duck hunting, and I guess he got a little bit too close to the beaver hut because this beaver kind of came at him, so he shot it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this guy split all the way down and pulled back a little bit some, and we'll come back and we'll show you how we do the feet. Plus we got to change the battery on the camera. Okay, so we've got him split down the center, and we've got the hide worked back to here where we're coming up to the first foot. Okay, all you do is just take your beaver knife and continue to work the hide. Work it around there, but just keep in mind where your foot is. Okay? Work it around in there just a little bit. Now, this is where you take your pointy knife, find the bone where you lopped it off, take the back side of your knife, place it on the bone, and then jam it in till you come all the way through. Okay? Then you kind of want to circle this bone a little bit. Okay? Now, I make the initial cut, and then I'll take like my booger finger or my thumb and start to work it around in there. Because the last thing I really want to do is cut this hide, okay? Then you work it around, you push the bone through till it comes out on this side, okay? You work it around with fingers as much as you can, okay? And then you just kind of gotta fillet the bone away from the hide. This is the part where I'll tell you right off the bat, if you take a little meat with it, don't stress out about it, because you'd rather take the meat and then fillet the meat off of the hide once you got it on the table. I mean, once you got the hide completely off the beaver, than trying to stress about it and nick the hide in this spot. Because the footholds and where the holes are on your hide for your feet, granted, are not going to be really part of your presentation, but you already got to kind of sew them up anyway, but you don't want to make more work for yourself. Okay, and then you just run your beaver knife down along his body, separating his body from his hide. Now, some guys will go ahead and put him up on the gamble and start to try to pull the hide away. I used to do that, but man, once my son and I kind of figured out our rhythm, and with a beaver, it's just a lot easier to leave him on the table. So one of the key things is to just keep this hide tight. That's why a lot of guys put it up on the gamble. But I mean, this back leg is a booger to get him to detach from the fur. But once you get him there, and you just do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to go ahead, do this other side, and then we will be back to show you how we take him completely off. All right, so we got both feet out, and we're working it across up to his back. Now you notice we've got the beaver now on his belly. Now, my son learned a really cool trick, and this is something that he just picked up, able to do from us spending long hours out here in the fur shed. Because we take turns. Sometimes I'm skinning, he's fleshing, sometimes vice versa. Sometimes he's skinning and fleshing and I'm tacking the fur up and butchering. But what he has figured out a way to be able to keep more meat on the beaver and less on the hide, just like in between cuts. He showed me a little trick he's learned for the feet that I'm going to adopt, and we'll probably do another video and show his trick. Till we get about where the hide, what did you say, son? Is about right here? Right about where this side is? Right about here? Okay. So we're going to do that other side until it's about, I don't know, quarter of the way across. Okay, now, we're about there. What my son says he does is works his hand in here. Straight through the middle. I love the fact that my son has figured out something new and is now teaching me. That, Dad, you know that is just a huge pride moment right here. And come full circle. In a second now, he's probably going to be like, "You're doing it wrong." have it where I'm completely through. Okay. All right. Now my hand can go completely through. Okay. So now you just run your hand right up the beeve and pull that membrane back. But look at all that fat down there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I just keep peeling now, right? That is a cool little trick, son. And it does leave a lot of the meat. Even with me getting nervous about ripping the hide and switching to the knife, I mean, that's all from the leg. So, and this is where I'm going to do a modification to this table. I'm going to take some airline cable and I'm going to bolt it to either end, so that way I have a slip knot loop that I can pull, and I can keep this critter tight here, so that way as we're pulling the hide and the body of the critter is staying put. And then you just work it down until you get to the head. Okay, so when you get to the ears, you just go ahead and you find that cartilage and you just lob it off. Let the ears come with the hide. Okay, this around the head, you do need to be a little bit more delicate, because if you're going to nick the hide, this is where you're going to do it. I mean, unless you're just not really paying attention through the rest of the part and you're just cutting. But this up here around the head is where it gets real easy to nick your hide. And you guys can say what you want about how much meat I'm leaving on the hide, but my hide won't have any nicks in it. Come up to the eyeballs and you just slice right over. Take the eyelid with you. And just work it around. And you got to work it all the way down to his nose, because you want that nose, especially on your other critters. Not as important on a beeve, but on your canines and dog, or canine is a dog, but on your coons, skunks, possums, you want that nose. That nose is going to help you. Right here to the nose. And away she is. And there you have your beaver hide. Now, the next video is we'll show you how to clean this portion of the beaver hide. It's called fleshing. So, thanks for coming by the Big Bear Homestead. Like always, Have a nice day.